I'd like to thank Exotic Mandibles for his generous $500 donation. $500 because Chris LBC got credit skip. P.S. Jacques is best Spyro 1 music. And $20 from Tiggity Poi Poi. Thank you for the awesome entertainment. Keep up the good work and have fun. P.S. Save the frames, not the animals. They will find a way out anyway. I'd like to remind everybody that since 2005, World 9 Gaming has been the premier computer and console gaming provider for events across the Midwest. With dedicated staff, tournament expertise, and the expansive collection of games and consoles, they guarantee the best gaming experience at the lowest cost for all events, large and small. Check them out at world9gaming.com. And also Tiny Build. Tiny Build Games is an indie developer morphed into an indie publisher. They partner up with indies across the world to help better their games as well as develop games themselves. Check them out at www.tinybuild.com and check out their game Speedrunners, which is available in the AGDQ 2015 Humble Bundle. And speaking of Humble Bundle, we did eclipse the $150,000 mark for donations based on Humble Bundle AGDQ 2015 purchases. So thank you very much. Can we get a round of applause? And as a reminder, 100% of your Twitch subscriptions goes to the Prevent Cancer Foundation. So don't be shy. And it looks like the Korean language is still in the lead for the JAX 2 language donation bid war, with the Korean language still at $3,400, the French language at $3,091, and unless somebody has some very deep pockets, no other language is going to make it. You have approximately 50 minutes to change the order in which these languages are set. You're watching Awesome Games Done Quick 2015. Which again is run every year in January, featuring members of the Speed Demos Archive and the Speedrun Live communities. For more information about Games Done Quick, you can follow @GamesDoneQuick on Twitter and see information about the event on GamesDoneQuick.com. We've mentioned the Humble Bundle earlier. So go and check out the Awesome Games Done Quick bundle on humblebundle.com. Pay what you want for up to 9 games, a Twitch Turbo subscription, a subscription to XSplit Premium, and exclusive merchandise, all while supporting Prevent Cancer Foundation. That's www.humblebundle.com. we do wish to remind everybody that although your donation may not be read on air, we are receiving all donations, and we appreciate every dollar that we get. So thank you for donating. Don't forget to check out the bid wars that are out there. There is a glitched run of Pokemon Green by Shenanigans. The target is $2,000. We're currently at only $100. So if you want to see the glitched run of Pokemon Green by Shenanigans, keep donating towards that. There's also a bid war for Pokemon Red versus Pokemon Blue. It is a very tight race at this point, with Pokemon Blue at $23.97 and Pokemon Red at $22.45. Also, for the Pokemon Red-Blue slot, there is a Bulbasaur name bid war. Currently, Maronapal is beating Pendaflex, $550 to $235. $10 from Dragon Ball Hero. Thank you, Dragon Ball Hero. Crash 2 is one of my favorite PS1 games, and Roach is an awesome streamer. You are all in for a treat. And $50 from The Full Metal. Hey guys, one of my childhood games is going to be Speedrun right now. Crash Bandicoot 2 hype? Also kicking cancer's butt by kicking Cortez's butt really hard. Or Cortex's butt, sorry. Did you know that research has shown that up to 60% of cases and 50% of deaths due to cancer are preventable with what we already know? The PCF is at the forefront of the future by working alongside other groups across the globe spanning 6 continents. PCF has funded over 480 grants, and some of the money from those grants have come from the money raised by previous AGDQ events.
Test.
All right.
So it looks like we are ready.
Let me just listen to a little bit. That'll be fine. All right. All right. I'm ready to go whenever. Timer will start on first movement. I'll just say go when I'm ready. So, about 10 seconds from now. And go. Alright, I'm Roach. This is Crash Bandicoot 2, any percent no game over abuse. Chris here will be explaining basically the movement techniques I'll be showing off throughout the run. And Saboom can explain what no game over abuse is.
Sure.
So, Chris, take it away.
Alright, so what he's doing for basic movement here is every time he slides, he's actually releasing the direction he slides in and then spinning. And what that does is actually maintains your momentum from the slide throughout the spin. So this game is basically just chaining together these what we call neutral slide spins. And it, of course, makes you go really fast. And what he's doing over those holes, you're not supposed to be able to get over those holes so easily, but if you spin just on the way up from jumping, you actually get a lot more height out of the jump. And if you add a little bit of zigzagging, which is just alternating up, right, up, right, up, left, you just do that in the air, and if you do it fast enough, you actually gain a little bit of distance rather than just going normally through the air, just holding forward. And yeah, that was Turtle Woods. Goes really by really fast in this game. The levels just come and go really fast.
And also you can use the momentum from your slides to slide over some of the holes in the level, which I'll be doing pretty much as you just saw a few times already.
Yeah, so a little bit more about this category. It's called any percent no game over abuse, because there's a glitch in this game where if you collect something such as a crystal or a gem, it's essentially like assigned to your inventory, and if you actually game over, you'll still have that collectible. So if you game over and then complete another level, you'll be able to return more than one crystal at a time. So there's another run of this game that uses that. So basically a lot of the levels are just collecting the crystal and then dying, getting a game over, and then continuing onward to other levels. This run is more of like an all levels kind of run. Sorry, you go.
No, I was going to say, this is one of the first couple jet ski in the levels where you actually get a ride on one of the vehicles throughout this level. So, it's a little fun. And you do a couple things that the game probably didn't intend you to do, as I'll show right here, where it's like, oh, there's a path that you're supposed to go through. Let's just hug the wall.
So a bit of history on this game in this category where marathons are concerned. It's been a long time since Crash 2 has been in a GDQ, but it was at one point in 2011, long time ago before the game was really developed. But here it is back again. It was also at ESA 2013 and 2014. There was actually this same category, 90% no game over abuse race at ESA 2013, and then a run done in 2014. So there's been some marathon Crash 2 in the past.
One thing to point out for the level I'm about to enter the pits, you'll see me intentionally miss mask boxes. You do not want to get 3 masks in this game for the invincibility. You actually move much slower. There's only one time in the entire run that it is actually used. So as you see, I just like intentionally jumped over that one. And also you can spin off the back of these birds and get a little more momentum. Oops. Or you can just do that and have it fly towards you. Thankfully I was able to recover that and not go into a death. And just cut that corner there. I see, it's like the first warp, I mean, it's very easy. It's not too hard. Some nice tricks in it. Definitely shows off most of the movement techniques. Like I got to use like glitch high jump there to skip over that turtle. I mean, just right now it's just going through, doing what I need to do. This pit right here, you can jump over it, but with the angle of the slope, it's very hard to get it quite optimized, so it's sometimes faster to just go into it. And also any gems that I come across, like in the jet ski levels or through some spats that I follow, you avoid the gem because you just lose 2-3 seconds throwing it up in the warp room. And the first chase level of the run, where I will basically be doing any movement before you even see what I need to do on the screen. Or I just slide into the wall in the beginning.
Yeah, these backwards levels are all about memorization, I'd say, where the speedrun's concerned. Roach, of course, knows at any time what's coming up. So, you know, he's able to neutral slide spin where he wants to and just, you know, jump where he needs to. One of those where a beginner has a lot of trouble.
God, I remember so much trouble I had in these levels. It used to be my most hated, and now it's actually some of my favorite. Like
Yeah.
Unbearable and level 15, the third chase level in the game, is actually my favorite level in the run. Also here, using the glitch high jump to slide, just clear these holes instead of having to do a few extra jumps. It requires a little of the wiggling movement and zigzagging that was discussed earlier.
I think it's just pretty cool to be able to outrun the boulder by such a large margin.
Well, you
Yeah.
showed that off in Crash 1 last year at AGDQ. It's like that.
Yeah, Crash 1 you can do it some, but with the slide, just off screen it so quickly.
Yeah, in this game, the boulder doesn't rubber band at all, so you just leave it like miles
All
beyond.
right, this is your first boss for Peru. He's kind of a crazy jackrabbit. It's a scripted fight, so I'm just going to have a little fun in it, and this would be a great time to read off some donations. Any donations? No? No? Ah, darn, missed that. Anyways, see, I'm just having fun, bouncing on his head because I have nothing else to do. Not gonna risk that during the nitro phase because that would just be instant death if I fail.
Yeah, a lot of Crash speedruns are known for their sort of auto-scroller, like boring kind of bosses. In a speedrun, you do them hundreds of times, and
Or I just get clipped into the ceiling there for a moment.
you know, it's one of those things you gotta put up with.
It's a very solid warp 1, so I'm very happy with how this is starting out so far. I mean, I gotta give a good run after the amazing performance Chris just gave for Spyro. I'm gonna actually go ahead and do a guess on my time of right now about 7:45.
7:52.
All right.
And a little slower than I was expecting, but still really solid.
A $20 donation from Grogfella. I could have bought a copy of Crash of the Titans with this money. Charity seems like a much better investment. Save the marsupials.
And Chris, Saboom, if you have anything you want to just add randomly throughout runs, that I can focus a little bit also.
Ice physics probably worth pointing out. A few of the levels are kind of snow-based, as you can see. This ice here, very nice. That's quite a large hole that Roach just skipped over. But with the ice physics, as we call it, you can get a lot more speed on the icy pads. So in conjunction with the neutral slide spin speed,
It's close.
you can, so as you can see, he's just tearing down.
And the first Roach slam of the run.
Yeah, so
Just gonna play it safe and wait that cycle there.
in
Goes with
this
that.
game, sliding obviously is done a lot of the time, and the button to body slam is the same as the one to slide. So if anything unexpected like that happens, you'll often see runners like do a body slam. It's kind of comical. It's like they're just going through, you take an unexpected hit, and suddenly you're body slamming and losing like 3 seconds. But
Alright, would much rather have had one mass leaving this level to be a little safer in the next one, so I'll probably just play it a bit safer than normal. Cost myself a few seconds. And the first point of RNG you'll really face is in this level where there's one platform cycle that if you just get a bad cycle, you lose 5 seconds. Other than that, it's like we mostly skip most cycles throughout the run.
Yeah, not a whole lot of waiting that's done in this game. With how high you can jump and how far you can jump, most things can just be like jumped over.
Also, some of that is due to me playing on the PAL version, if one of you would like to go in a little more detail about that.
Alright, so, yeah, big difference between NTSC and PAL in this game. PAL basically just kind of got, like, wow!
Now that's just knowing the timing.
Very nice.
Try
yeah,
to swag that out a little with the tight cycle.
PAL was basically just, it received kind of a boost in all aspects. The slide goes a little bit further, the jump is a bit higher. So the movement is quite a bit different between versions.
I think the one advantage. Oh, were you gonna say something?
I was gonna say the next level is just basically one of your first two, like basically auto scrollers of the level. You can dash through it to speed it up some, but it's a very straightforward, basic level. So. And whatever you're about to say, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say I think the one advantage NTSC has is faster jetboard.
Yeah, vehicles and bosses move faster on NTSC, which actually makes 2 of the boss fights longer. The one we'll be facing soon, the other one is the 4th boss. I mean, but it does save you a few seconds in the jetboard levels in the NTSC version, but overall it's just a huge time loss just because you slide slower and can't jump as high, and to avoid some of the cycles that we just say ignore. It's like, oh, why wait? We can just do this. Gotta love the speedrunner philosophy.
Hey guys, for the newcomers out there, NTSC and PAL refer to what?
Okay, NTSCU is the North American distribution of video games, basically. PAL encompasses Europe and Australia. In fact, I'm not exactly the most educated on that. Can anybody else explain it any better than that?
All I know is NTSCU is North America for the most part, NTSCJ is Japanese, and PAL is pretty much the rest of the world.
Yeah, basically the PAL versions are gonna be your 25 and 50 FPS region. Nowadays they do pretty much universal game, but they had to adjust for frame rate back in the day.
Whoops. Oh well, only a second loss, nothing major. It's possible to slide over that hole using the neutral slide spins, but it's a little risky sometimes, so just gonna play it safe there. It only saves like a half a second, so it's very minimal.
$10 from Lincolnito. Thanks to Chris Roach and Nitroff for speedrunning the games from my childhood. So much memories come. Rexy sends us $5, another $5 from me for the Crash 2 pre-run Glitch Fest. You guys are still amazing. Last charge for Jack 2, French here, but I'll still enjoy the Korean anyway.
Yeah, actually, the other day when I was doing a practice run, Saboom actually fell asleep on me, so just literally right in the middle of the practice room floor. It's kind of funny.
GDQs.
Got a few nice
Sleep
pictures that we
schedules.
need to post around for that. Alright, Warp 2 is coming to an end. For this next level eel deal, I want to try and leave here with at least one mast to speed up the next level in the third world. And also there's these electric eel cycles there. As you saw, the water turned yellow, and that will basically sting you for like 3 seconds and damage you. Also, if one of you guys want to talk about the Aku Aku mask and how they work in the game.
The masks that he's picking up in the game actually act as like a health, basically. So in Spyro is sparks, but in this game you start off with 0 health and you can collect masks to gain, just basically be able to take damage without dying.
Like
Otherwise, this game you die everywhere.
As you saw there, with I intentionally hit that nitro crate, so I did not have to wait for that water cycle. Oh, and that was just a swag catch on to getting on the rail a little later. Really quick to try and notice, but it saves about a second. And I'll just probably play a little, yeah, I gotta wait for the cycle at the end, so no reason to try and go a little too fast there, because I didn't want to leave this level with 1 mask. Saves 4 seconds in the next level after the boss. Which coming up is the Komodo Brothers. I don't remember which one's Mel or Joe, but one of them throws forwards at you while the other spins around the room. And basically, it's a manipulative fight, so you can manipulate the movements throughout the fight to how you want it to be done. Which, yeah, like you can have them go straight at the boss or bounce off the sides and hit them first.
Yeah, this fight has a lot of speedrun tech to it.
And I can just sit here and do this.
This is one of the fights that's actually faster on NTSC because the guy in the middle throws swords a lot faster.
Yes.
But of course, in the end, PAL just saves so much on movement, it doesn't even matter.
And also, well, I just mentioned the other boss for the NTSC versus PAL differences when we get there.
And one thing to point out, how Chris was talking about the masks, and you know, if you couldn't get any, you'd be dying a lot. Really, the way this game is, it is quite challenging. It's one of those games that gives you a lot of extra lives, and to the casual player just kind of going through the first time, you end up having a lot of deaths. So
Expect the game over a few times.
Yeah, you definitely burn through all those lives that the game gives you. Roach is just making this look much easier than it is.
Yeah, it's just, this game is very unforgiving with deaths. I mean, there's some times where a single death can be like about a minute lost. Alright, and this is the this level is the reason why I wanted 2 masks, so I can just not ignore those guys and just go straight through them by damage boosting. Which there's, on average, I usually have to only wait 1 cycle, but there's these fan blades that it's possible not to get hit by while going through them, which will coming up very shortly, which will right here. Got hit by the first one. Come on, give me this one. Oh, alright, well I have to wait 1 of the cycles, not a big deal, it's about 4 seconds.
Yeah, as you can see, these flamethrower guys, that's where masks more come into play in this game, if you can just kind of run straight through something that would otherwise harm you.
And I usually just wait for the, there's 1 of 3 guys you could wait on, doesn't really matter which ones you do. I usually do the first because you usually bounce back after hitting him, so he's the one that you'll lose the least amount of time on by having to wait.
Quick update on the Jack 2 language bid war. French language is now ahead at $3,700. Korean language is still at $3,400. The Spanish language has not gotten bid.
And just to give you an idea, it's like how optimized some of the movement is. This is my 4th run in a row where I've entered this level with 99 Wampa Fruit and 11 lives. So it's the path that we follow is very basically set for some movement. Obviously it could vary by a few. That was close, jumped a little early. It's just using dash jump, trying to travel through this level as fast as possible. They introduced these 2 guys on the side just like lifting crates that can just like trip you up.
So the technique that he's using in this level is actually jumping after quickly charging. And if you don't jump, you end up just having to wait for the cooldown for the next charge. And it ends up like you have quite a bit of time where you're just standing there doing nothing, just walking forward.
And hop over the totem.
Yeah,
Instead of
in the polar bear levels in this game, you can't just hold the charge. In Crash 3, the counterpart to these levels, you have like a level where you ride a tiger, which you can actually just maintain the charge. You just hold down the button. And this one is more of like a press, and you charge for about a second or two. So jumping out of that is the way to keep the most speed.
Bird of Ruin coming up. It's a very short level if played properly, but a lot can very easily go wrong, especially for an analog player like myself, because it's very narrow paths that you have to stay perfectly straight on, or else you're just flying off the edge. So, wish me luck. Use those boxes kind of line myself up. Got the safety. Also, using the glitch high jump, we can go what fire?
That fire.
Yep. It does, I mean, it's okay for me to take damage at least once. I wouldn't prefer to leave this level with one mask. Also, the fastest way to actually go down those is to slide, but there's a very decent chance you can actually get stuck in the floor. Crash in this game, for some reason, likes to stay inside objects, and it's basically you have to leave the level and re-enter and redo it.
Yeah,
So
that most commonly occurs in these ruin levels.
Yes.
Just being embedded into the ground, and he'll just have to exit the level.
So I've just changed the movement up a little bit throughout these levels, just to very heavily reduce the chance of that happening to almost minimal. I mean, it doesn't happen too often, but that level is definitely the worst about it. Alright, plant food. The only scary thing about this level is the first couple jumps, because you're literally ignoring most of the cycles. Alright, we're good.
Nice. The plant food opening is very, very tricky.
Yeah, it's the only thing I'm scared about this level. It's not, it can be very evil sometimes.
I think one thing that should be said about the whole embedding issue with the PAL region, it's not actually very common in the NTSC version to embed objects, but when they switched this to from the 30 FPS to 25 FPS, they sped up Crash, which is what gave him the extra speed. But not only is he faster, but they have fewer amount of frames to do the calculations, so he's even going faster, mathematically speaking. That lets you slip by walls and stuff if you're going too fast before it realizes that you're all there.
Again, just skipping gems because they're unnecessary to this category.
It's just like, it calls about a second going around them instead of like 3 seconds just throwing all up in the warp room like the crystal. Alright, this is the last level of Warp 3. It is the final chase level in the run. It's one of my most interesting. It's actually the only chase level that you cannot slide under the electric gates consistently. Like, as you saw, I just was sliding under, like doing slide spins under all of them, while these I just have to do more of a normal slide. I dropped input there and just like threw off my timing a bit, as you might hear me occasionally like say numbers. That's just me counting my number of neutral slide spins I have to do before I enter my next input.
Yeah, one downside about moving really fast in this game is that the game actually lags a lot, especially on the PAL version. And every time the game lags, you can't actually put any inputs in, and they just get dropped. So very often you'll see runners just slide in front of a hole and then walk into it because their jump just didn't get registered by the game. It definitely becomes extremely annoying when you're running the game, but you learn to deal with it.
It's like sometimes if you just see me randomly stop for no reason or do like 2 slides in a row, it's usually that happening. Got the clip into the ceiling just for the swag. It does not save any time, it just looks awesome. Alright, coming up next is Tiny, Tiny the Tiger. He's the biggest RNG element in the run. It's in the third phase, well, you'll just see it in a moment, I'll just explain it then.
$50 from Platypus Socks 190. I have work to be doing right now, but it doesn't seem that I care. Spyro, Crash, and Jack. You want me to lose my job? Keep up the great work, guys.
Alright, see, for Tiny, it's just the, for each phase he drops 3, then 2, then 1, and it's just which ones he drops are completely RNG dependent. So it's like he can do a few extra hops a few times, or it could just give you a spot where it could literally be impossible to drop him. Like, I don't know how I somehow managed to get him to drop in that one. But for the third phase, getting the corners are the worst unless you are hopping there on that hop where he would fall. Like right now, I have to wait an extra cycle because it's not possible to get him to jump there. Wow, this is bad RNG. Jesus. There goes about 20 seconds. There we go. Can I get a time check, please?
25:33.
Really good pace run right now, just especially with that RNG. So that was about 20 seconds lost. Warp 4 now is the spot where how many masks I have will determine what level I enter, because I want 2 masks entering Hanging Out, which is level 16. It is the only level and time in the run where you'll see me getting 3 masks. And I just got stuck in the wall for a moment.
The scenery in this game is very interactive.
Yeah, and it doesn't like letting you go by sometimes. Alright, and let's see if I can get the mass jump. There we go. It's kind of precise, landing on that right before that. Alright, that's a good cycle. With that, I can jump over that first fence and just slide around that one. There's a little opening on the side that you can like hop in. Also, where these plants shoot their seeds are RNG dependent, so hopefully they will be nice to me today and not land in my path. And this is Digging It. It's the longest level in this run for any percent. It's a little over 2 minutes. We got a bad cycle here, so I'm going to try and do a backup strat, which I got. Just landing on top the pole of the gate, electric gate. Alright, these plants are being very kind today. I'm happy. There's, like, especially right there, that's because you have one narrow path you can follow. It can screw you over sometimes.
$10 from Dark Tony, my first donation of AGDQ. We all believe in Jack 2 in French. Plus, the runner will surely laugh by hearing a hilarious Dactor's voice.
So, yeah. Since I managed to leave Digging It with 2 masks, I will be going to Hang Out and praying not to mess up in the first half of the level. Because if you get hit in the first half, you basically lose 15 seconds for not being able to get the 3 masks form. Which I will point out why soon enough. Alright, that's the hard part out of the way.
Yeah, that's tricky not to get hit there.
Alright, you'll notice how slow Crash moves while hanging here. It's just basically you kind of have to wait sometimes. Got decent cycles here, so it's not too bad. And the only time you'll ever see this in the entire run.
As you can see, he's not neutral slide spinning at all here. It's very slowed down, but
as you see, this is the whole reason we do it. It saves about 15 seconds. You don't have to wait any cycles, and he moves crazy fast while hanging on those while in this form.
yeah, for some reason though, the standard movement you do is just drastically slowed down when you have invincibility.
Yeah, it's actually slower than just like walking speed.
Yeah. But the monkey bars, as you saw, sped up.
That is an intentional hit, because I do not want to enter my next level with 2 masks. It's easier to do it with 1.
$25 from Necrosine. Crash Bandicoot is one of the biggest parts of my childhood, if not the biggest. I played every game in the series, and I've been looking forward to this all week. Also, a glitch run of Pokemon Green sounds amazing. Let's make it happen.
And just Crash not doing what I want him to do and just like standing around.
This is the second level with bees that chase you. Fortunately, you move so quick that you can very easily outspeed bees. You're meant to sort of burrow underneath in the mud. If you spin, Crash will actually dig down. If you do a neutral slide spin though, like if you spin out of a slide, you're not gonna dig down. Yeah, I mean,
also, something to note, right there on that platform, I use the invincibility frames of spinning to not take damage from that plant seed on that platform as I landed. But yeah, it's like, casually, you're supposed to dig down, as Boom said, in those things.
yeah, there's a lot of things that are mitigated throughout the game.
As you saw, I just did that again there with the invincibility frames. And since I have 2 masks here and I only need 1 for the next level, spike jump.
Yeah, very few things that you actually have to slow down for in this run. The levels go by very, very quickly.
Alright, there's a trick I'll be doing in the next level that I'm only going to go for it once. It saves about 6 seconds if you nail it, 15 to 20 seconds if you fail it. So, just point out when you get to it, it's called pillar strats. And also, you saw we just used the glitch high jump to kind of just ignore that first flame. So, play it safe there. Just bounce. First part of this level is really slow paced, but it picks up very quickly. Yeah, had a bad cycle there, so I just had to wait a moment.
So the pillar strats, as Roach mentioned, it's a lot easier to stay aligned by waiting on these pillars. What Roach is going to be going for here is just doing a quick jump at the end here.
Using a glitch high jump too, and I failed it. It's basically to land on that cycle in the back and then jump straight where the crystal is.
The difficult part there is keeping the alignment.
Yes. It's just if you're just a little off, I mean you basically have to stay straight on them, and you're also like sliding around as you're on them because of the angle that they are. I'm kind of disappointed I didn't make it, so but first at the run, so I'll just be happy with that. Or if you get hit by those, very quick death, but if those logs hit you, they basically take you down into the hole with them. It doesn't matter how many masks you have, they're just going to drag you down. I mean, thankfully there's a checkpoint right there, so it's just a few seconds lost. Cold Hard Crash is basically the only level I'm afraid of dying in the most, because you take the death route, which is only available if you do not die in the level, is about 30 to 40 seconds faster than the standard route throughout the level. So hopefully we can achieve this and show off some cool strats in that death route. 666 height. Also, like, you're supposed to have to wait there, but and since I have 2 masks, I'm intentionally taking a point of damage there because this mask right here is unavoidable. Alright, and we are in the death route. There's a path usually only supposed to be taken for 100% completion because of the gem at the end, but it's just so much faster for the 90% category. Three, 1, 1, 2.
Yeah, we should point out that isn't just like an optional section to do that. That actually skips a large part of the main level to, you know, take the different path instead. So this skips straight to the end of the level. The death route's just a much shorter path to take.
I said it's a good 30 to 40 seconds saved. It is quite large. So a death in this level is very costly and basically a run ender for pretty much any speed run. Alright, the next fight is the engine boss fight. I'm not sure if it's a him or her. I don't even think the game creators are 100% sure about that. But on the PAL version, he moves much slower, which allows you to break two of his parts at the same time. And what I'm going to be trying to do is, like, I gotta actually kind of focus here and pay attention. I gotta count the hits. I failed the early double arm, so I have to wait this attack. It's possible to break both arms right there, but it's very tight. If you miss like one shot, it's basically, it's over. It's a lot fat. It's easier to just wait until he does this to break them both at the same time instead of breaking one. 3-2. Ooh, that's bad. Missed it. Alright, missing the double shoulders there loses about, well, thankfully this is the easier shoulder to deal with, but it's still about a good 13 seconds loss.
Yeah, as pointed out before, the Komodo Bros from Warp 2 have a lot of speedrun tech. This fight does as well. There are some insane strats you could go for
Like
engine.
It's like there's a strat right here, which saves 6 seconds if you one cycle that, but it is extremely risky, and you have to restart the entire fight if you fail it. And we're entering the last warp room now, which is, the first two levels here are by far the hardest in the run. You will shortly see, because there's a lot of stuff that wants to zap you, burn you, crush you. It's just everything is after you. I missed the early cycle there. You can actually be fast enough and get under there and just be ahead of that cycle. It's possible to do 3D jumps around some of these items to skip a few cycles, which I will be showing off a few later.
3D jump referring to just jumping forward, but sort of reconfiguring your alignment to be jumping toward the screen, so as to jump around. Like it's making use of sort of the 2.5D effect. These are, you know, 2D sections, but there's a bit of 3D range.
And I will be doing my first one right there.
Nice.
And just for a little swag right here. Boing. I said it's possible to go around a lot of those cycles using those 2.5 range type jumps, or 3D jumps as we call them, but to save a few more seconds level, but they're extremely risky because if you get the movement wrong, you can like get stuck on the body of the whatever you're trying to jump around and it'll just drop you straight into the ground.
$30 from Anonymous. I now have the sudden urge to 100% run Crash 2.
You think that now?
Use the 3D jump right there to get around that cycle and made it easier to kill that enemy. So there's a little waiting in these levels, but nothing too major. So you'll see me doing a damage boost up here very shortly. Oops, jumped a little too early. Okay, well I only meant to get hit once, but I can just climb on top of the stage and skip that section.
Yep. Bouncing on that guy enables you to actually, again, make use of like the 3D range and just get on top of that wall and just neutral slide spin across it.
I see sliding those enemies up from the top just basically kills them. I mean, if you normally hit that fire. Also, you see I'm approaching the front of that area because there's actually an invisible wall to the left of that backside of that enemy, which you'll just get stuck on and can't move forward and you'll die. Or just get hit repeatedly until you die. Anyway, the scary section of the level is out of the way. Next is one of the 2 jetpack levels that they introduced as a mechanic in Crash 2 for Warp 5. This would be a great time to read some donations off. It's just pretty straightforward, nothing to really say about it.
Okay, thank you. $25 from Super Squared. Been a great AGDQ so far, and so many good runs still to come. Seeing so many talented players is inspiring me to try my hand at speedrunning. I'm putting this donation towards acting out the squat scene in FF7. I don't even know what I could donate for that until I didn't even know I could donate for that until last night. FF7 squats hype. $15 from Lance Charlson. From the UK. Running away towards the camera from something dangerous. A classic trope of Naughty Dog games. Kappa Crash is basically the reason why I got into games and drawing, as well as Rayman. Thanks for speedrunning this game.
One thing to at least touch base on is these enemies Roach is spinning there. You're meant to spin them 2 times, and the second time you'll bump them into the like fiery wall that's up. But in the PAL version, you can actually just spin them once and then just fly through it. I guess it was maybe just an oversight in programming that the wall doesn't hurt you.
So that's thank you for mentioning that, Spoon. It's something I forgot to mention about that. It actually saves about 5 to 8 seconds per enemy in each of those levels. So you save about a good close to 30 seconds between the 2 jetpack levels just because of that difference. This is actually my personal favorite level in this run, but just because it's a little dark, can't really see much, and you just have to know what you're doing. You have these little fireflies that can help you out. But there are these little slopes near the end of some of these holes which you can just do what we call an extended slide that can, well, your slide will go much farther than intended and will drop you in the hole. And here's my favorite section. You're supposed to kind of go around these, but why not just go under them?
Yeah, that's one of the few sections in the game where hitbox is actually more merciful than it looks. These little jellyfish things, whatever people call them, yeah, it's surprising how much you can just kind of avoid them.
Well, part of it is that as long as you're sliding or spinning,
Is it triggering the invincibility?
yeah, you're invincible. to-
Also, something to note here, that I'm intentionally taking damage there because there's a bug in the PAL version where if you enter the next level rocket with 2 masks, it will instantly drop you to your death. And it's like a 4-second loss and you don't have any masks to do the level in.
Sorry, just to clarify what Kane just brought up a second ago. We did touch base on that before, but there's a lot of instances in this game where when you're spinning and also when you're sliding, you can just avoid taking damage. It essentially gives you a bit of an invincibility effect. It doesn't work against all things, but certain things just won't be able to hit you. It's funny because back in the Ripperoo fight, when Ripperoo lays out his TNTs, that's one of the things that can be avoided.
Yeah, you can actually slide through the explosions of the TNTs there and not take damage and die. It's kind of funny, but a little risky.
Yeah.
I just do that when I'm actually just doing attempts for fun and just showing off. I mean, there's just still a chance of death, so it's not worth taking the chance on it. I was really close in that cycle. Since I hit that wall, I was almost a little late where I would have got zapped. I got a bad cycle there, but since I had the mask, it did not matter, since this is the last level of the run.
Rexy sends us another $5. What's your fave piece of music in Crash 2? If you say anything other than rocket, it's an incorrect answer. P.S. Go Team France.
I'm still going to go with Knife Fight. Anyway, entering into Cortex Fight, you actually do not want to mash any buttons here because the game can soft lock. Also, get ready on time. This is a very anticlimactic fight. It's kind of, yeah, you'll see.
Goes by pretty quick.
Basically, just dodge the boulders, and when Cortex slows down and gets close to you, just spin them and hit them. And time.
All right.
Very happy with that. All right, go. Thank you guys for letting me do my run here. It was a great experience. It's a lot of fun hanging out with a lot of these guys here. And just donate some more and Korean language for Jack 2. Let's do it.
In Korea.
Speaking of Jack 2, it looks like, which is coming up, it looks like the French language is in the lead, 37.66 versus Korean language at 34.62. $5 from GoTo. Nice to see my childhood game being beaten like this. Keep on running. So next up is Jack 2 by Natrovsky. And I think we are going to take a quick break and do a commercial. So see you when we come back.